Maxie, I've been thinking, should we do season 3 on the Dr. Joe show? You sure? You sure it's a good idea? You know, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome to the Dr. Joe Show. I'm Joe, excited to be here. I hope you are as well. Today we're doing cigar review number 36. 36 cigar review on the Dr. Joe Show. And today, the brand of the hour is Vegueros. Or as we say in America, Vegueros. Or Vegueros. Honestly, I have no idea how to pronounce this brand. I'm familiar with it. It is one of the Magic 27. It almost wasn't for a little while. We're going to talk all about its very, very short brand history here. Really not much of a history at all. It is a post-revolution Cuban cigar brand. We'll talk a little bit about how it came to be. It's a bit of an oddball. It's definitely one of the brands, one of the last brands most people come into contact with or even know is in existence. A lot of sites don't offer it, don't carry it, or didn't for a long time until very, very recently. We'll talk all about that. And as you see, I have right here in front of me a tin of 19 Entretiempos. Never smoked a cigar before. It's a very, very, very new release. I got a tin of these as soon as they came out, mid-2014, and it's been sitting in my humidor since. So why don't we just skip all the pleasantries and open her right up and see what we got inside. We'll unwrap it, take a few pictures. I did order these from Finest Cuban Cigars. They do have them available should you want them, but don't order them just yet. Let's find out if they're any good first. We got a great episode planned for you. We're going to smoke the cigar, review the cigar, talk a little bit about the brand history, and since it's so brief, we'll get back into some viewer emails and comments, at the end of which, the last of which, will segue beautifully into our next episode, which is going to be all about one particular topic, and I'm sure a lot of you out there can guess exactly what that topic is. So, without any further ado, I present to you Vegueros. Well, it comes in a little tin, beautifully designed, and the first thing you note about this tin is, did this really come from Cuba? I mean, wow. You know, without calling the brand Venom or something like that, if there was no name on the box, that's what I probably would guess as far as what the brand's name is. This looks totally Americanized. The graphics, the colors, the way they did the V and everything with the sharp points and everything. It looks kind of mean, doesn't it? You know, very, very interesting. You know, we had a wonderful review our last episode, 35th episode with L'Atelier, and that was just great. If you haven't seen it yet, please do check it out. And we talked a little bit about you know, people's opinions on Cuban brands versus American brands and who's copying who. And, well, in this case, we can definitely see that, I mean, which market is this aimed at exactly? I mean, tell me that. So, anyway, open the tin, and I had a sealed tin here. I mean, you can't really tell either way because it's only sealed on one side, and you can just go like that. But when you open it up, the entire bundle in cellophane, with a, you know, another wraparound, and the box date, the date of production, is actually on the bottom of that, under the cellophane. You can see right here, SUE ABR 14, April 2014. So we're coming right up on a year. We're a couple of months shy of a year. Smells wonderful. As soon as I open the tin, great Cuban tobacco smell. All right, so before we get started, I just want to show you a close-up, couple of close-ups of the tin here on video. There are 16 cigars in this tin, 16 Entretiempos by the newly revamped Vegueros. And as you can see, if you know the old Vegueros, the logo is very, very different. In fact, and I'll show you a picture of the old Vegueros logo. The old logo is inside the new logo. The old logo was a V formed out of the tobacco leaf image, just like that. That's what that is. But this is new to the brand. Anyway, you know, it's very highly modernized, and it used to use a. It was always green and yellow, green and white, green, white, black, and they used a standard, you know, I don't know, grass green, no, like, you know, leaf green. But now they got like this neon Venom green. The V just keeps making me think Venom. So inside, the 16 cigars are wrapped in cellophane. You know, you have your wraparound, just like that. Oh yeah, and also, this is kind of cool. Every side of the tin is different. On one side, you have Cuba, and it's mapping off the Pinar del Rio region where all of the fine tobacco you smoke is grown. Now, Vegueros, they keep the price down. One, because there's 16 cigars in a tin. Two, because they're, now listen, they're not low quality. They're not, as far as, they're not machine made, they're not short filler. They are totally handmade, long filler cigars, just like all the other cigars you smoke. However, the tobacco is not from Vuelta Bajo. People talk about Pinar del Rio and Vuelta Bajo like it's two different worlds, two different places. In fact, Vuelta Bajo is a region within Pinar del Rio. And Pinar del Rio is covered with all sorts of tobacco growing regions. These are made from tobacco that comes from Pinar del Rio. Now, when they say that, what they mean to say is it does not come from Vuelta Bajo, even though Vuelta Bajo is in Pinar del Rio. So that's that. So technically what they're saying is it's not as a high-grade tobacco, but we're going to see how these taste anyway. They smell damn good, I tell you that, and even though I haven't even opened this yet. Let's get this open, and we'll talk. See, it's very tightly taped up. I don't want to bust any cigars here. Hold on one second. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a little piece of crystal scotch tape on there, keeping everything together. And I'm just going to open these up. Yeah, and those look really good. I mean, they look really uniform. They look really nice. These are Petit Edmundo size. In other words, 4.3 by 52 ring gauge. So same size as a Petit Edmundo. I really like the way they put all the graphics together. I like the fact that it just don't throw them in the tin. They have them all wrapped up nice, and they have, you know, a nice little band around everything, keeping it together. And I really like the fact that when I first got the tin, I was like, oh man, no box date, are you kidding me? That can't be. But they put it on the inside right here like I showed you before. I'm going to feel these here. Very, very dense. Super packed. Nice. You know, I've had these in my humidor, like I said, since I got them when they first came out, and they're not dry. They're nice and pliable, but man, are they packed. They are like little baseball bats, packed with tobacco. Very, very, very well-filled cigars. Wrapper is got a bit of a papery feel to it. All right. Yeah, these are extremely, extremely packed. I wish you could feel one of these because, man, they are loaded. And so there they are. Our 16 Entretiempos looking very, very nice. I'll take a few pictures, and then we're going to light one up. Very sleek design, man. I mean, I don't know. Even if you tried as hard as you could, I don't think you can get much more American market than that. These are the new Cubans, baby. Okay. Enjoy the pictures.
All right. I think I have everything I need. Am I all set up here? Where's my little tiny notes? Very tiny notes on on this brand. Very, very tiny notes. Oh, my note. Hold on. Okay. Well, what happened was my when I transferred my notes from my good computer to this computer, it came out in a text file, and it came out in one long line. I had to keep hitting enter, and so. But I tell you something, man. Honestly, Vegueros was a brand that I knew existed, and I've smoked some old ones actually. But although I knew it existed, I really didn't know much about it. Why it was created, how it was created, where it was created, and all that stuff. So I did a little research, as I always do, as far as how the brand was created and what it is. This brand really has no history. This brand really has, I don't think you really can call it history. Okay, so we're going to get into our brand history, but first, of course, we're going to have to light it up. Light up our Vegueros Entretiempos. Like I said before, petite robusto format, 52 by 4.3 inches. Nice size cigar. Nice as far as my preferences go. I like cigars like this. Kind of like a robusto almost. It's like a short robusto, but not too short. like a middleman robusto, with a little extra stocky guy. Anyway, let's cut it up and see what we got here. Now, you know something? Actually, I'm going to save it for a comment. I am using a polio cutter right now. Very, 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 very good cutter. Highly recommended.
Probably the best cutter, probably my favorite cutter, you know, unless you get yourself a nice table cutter. But I have a comment that I'm gonna get into a little later about that. But and you'll see why I mentioned that it is a polio cutter, and it's a very good cutter. Clipped off very, very easily. Got a nice looking roll here, nice little bit of room in the foot, and packed like fucking baseball bats, man. I'm telling you, these things they are really, really packed. At least mine are. April 2014, very dense feeling cigar. Very, very easy draw. Hardly any resistance. For a packed cigar, that's pretty surprising. Nice tobacco flavor. A little nutty. I'm almost getting a bit of a tea-like note. Very fresh. Nice. No spice. Earthy. Nothing immensely special going on here. So on the pre-draw, I'm getting some weedy, light weedy, hay-type flavors. Some kind of tea-type notes. Quite mild pre-draw. But it has some flavor. It has some good flavor. It's nice. Mostly just very... It tastes very clean. Tastes like very clean Cuban tobacco. No spice at all. No sweet notes. Pretty good. Let's light it up and see what we get. You know, I'm running out of matches. I said that before. I'm running out of matches. That's nice. See, I like these Swan matches better than the Davidoff matches. I really do. Look at that. The Davidoff matches... I don't know. Right off the bat, younger type flavors. Hay, tiny bit grassy, a little harsh through the nose, a little peppery, a little bit of like a, not bitter, not coffee, not leather, kind of like maybe some kind of pepper, tiny bit of spice coming through. Yeah, very weedy, very, very vegetal at the tip of the tongue. Good. You know, very, very, I don't want to say generic, but I'm going to say very, very basic tobacco flavors, but very flavorful. Not like, you know, sometimes you get a brand that you buy cigars and you start smoking them and there's just no flavor. It's just like dead, you know? You can't even say it tastes like tobacco. It just tastes like shit, or it's dead, or it's just kind of like bitter and airy. This has some very nice, very, very standard tobacco flavors. Nothing really fancy going on here, in other words. But fairly dense smoke, not wispy, bit of creaminess on the palate, a little bit of a drying of the palate, probably due to tannins on a fairly young cigar here. This cigar is under a year old, almost a year old. I wouldn't say it's sick. I'm not getting any ammonia. I'm not getting any bitterness, anything like that. Nice aroma. Just floral. Just floral. And again, a little bit harsh at the nose. Smoothing out. Little peppery through the nose, but definitely more than bearable. Nice. Nice. You know, thing is, you go into this cigar, and when you go into it, you're not expecting anything crazy. You know, you're getting 16 cigars for a little over $100. You know, they don't even come to $10, $9 a cigar. I think they come to something like $7 a cigar, $8 a cigar, somewhere between that. You know, and they're good Cuban tobacco. So no frills, nothing like that really. But let's talk a little bit about the history, and then we'll talk about our first third, and we'll go through the whole cigar and see what we find, and we'll have some fun here. Say goodnight, Max.